Thursday morning, it's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world here this morning. Some big movements with some companies out there. We'll talk about those and our stocks we're paying attention to. Of course, we get into the market watch and local national stories you need to know. And the state uproar over the Salad and Go company closing. And again, folks, we tell you all the time here, private equity, not good for a company or for consumers out there. Another example of that out there. But we got another update for you. And the amount of people losing their minds over this is kind of interesting, at least in my eyes here, as we go through this. But we'll have a follow up later on in the program. But first, let's get right into that Market Watch. And here we go. Very little unchanged today is what we're looking at on the market. NASDAQ, well, basically everybody's monitoring the Iran situation, right, with the ceasefires and the holding and Strait of Hormuz situation. Everybody's looking at that. Then you got some memory stocks falling today as well in big terms. We'll talk about those coming up in the program. But right now, Dow Jones is down the 94 points to 54,323. The S&P 500's basically unchanged, 1 point up to 7731. NASDAQ's up 43 points this morning, 26,406 right now. The Russell 2K, barely up, 2 points up for it as well, 3,022. So basically, the market is just plateaued and sitting there here on this August 6th day. Bitcoin, now technically it's down 241 points here today, but it's trading in that 64,361 range as of right now as well. A lot of conversation still going on about SpaceX, how that pressure will come on it this week as more insiders start selling some of their stocks there. So everybody's paying attention to SpaceX. We told you about that yesterday as well. But the rumors out there is Iran and Oman, well, they're close to a Strait of Hormuz deal there in the Middle East. We've heard this before, right? But that's kind of what the market's eyeing right now as well. Gold prices are hitting their highest levels since June, all on weak payrolls data. And, of course, those Strait of Hormuz deal hopes out there. So gold, highest level since June as well. So that's what's kind of judging the international markets, which are affecting the markets here as well. Stocks we're paying attention to. First one we're going to look at, well, it was a staple during the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown. Struggled ever since. We're talking about Peloton Interactive out there. Well, down big today. 13.19% down. Its fourth quarter results were not impressive. They earned 13 cents per share. Well, that was in line with estimates. The problem was its revenue topped expectations as well. That's not the problem. But they reported its active paying subscribers actually fell 8.8% year over year. It means people aren't subscribing to those interactive software programs anymore. The ones where you have a guy yelling at you in your own home to speed up and, a trainer yelling at you to speed up, slow down, pedal faster. That's down 8.8% year over year, and that's why Peloton stock here with our reporting is down 13.88% here today, because you get the initial sale. It's the monthly subscriptions to those programs where the Peloton continues to make money, and 8.8% down. Not a good number for Peloton here today. Next up, Moderna out there. Well, you know them, the drug maker. Food and Drug Administration approved Moderna's mRNA flu vaccine. It's called Flusiva. Flusiva is what is known on the market, but there is an M in front of it. Well, it's for adults 50 years old and older. Well, it's been approved by the FDA, so Moderna's up 0.29% right now as well. You can see as the market opened, it was about 4%. And it's fallen here today as the markets continued on. But this drug was approved by the FDA. And the stock everybody's paying attention to today and kind of watching, well, there's two of them. One SanDisk, that'll come up after our next look at the market watch. But this time, everybody's talking about Versant Media out there. They're up big, 13.46% right now for them. They raised its full-year outlook, and they reported beats on the top and bottom lines. Versant now expects 2026 revenue to be 6.2 billion to 6.45 billion dollars. They adjusted earnings before EBITDA there, right? They expect that to be 1.9 to 2.05 billion dollars. Versant Media Group getting better guidance out there than expected as well, and beat the top and bottom lines 10.76% up on that news as well. It was 14% up a little bit earlier. When I was looking at stocks about 30, 40 minutes ago, you can see how it's come down a little bit here, but that's what we're looking at. I told you the other stock everybody's looking at today is SanDisk out there. That'll be a stock that we'll look at when we come back here later on and look at stocks. SanDisk, Western Digital, another memory stock out there. And then, of course, for those two stocks, then Zillow is what we'll look at as well. You know, the online real estate marketplace out there. Some companies are having terrible reporting seasons out there, and big name ones as well. Hint, hint on what's coming up here shortly in the program. But first, the number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits, excuse me, well, it rose last week. Layoffs do remain a historically healthy range of the past few years. Yes. So we're not seeing anything different than what's expected. U.S. filings for jobless aid in the week ending August 1st, well, it rose by 1,000. So it went to 199,000 jobless claims. Then we get all this from the Labor Department. The previous week's figure was revised up by 1,000. It went to 198,000. Weekly filings for unemployment benefits, as you know, because you watch McCollum on Business, well, they're considered representative of layoffs. They're close to a real-time indicator, as close as you can get for the health of the U.S. job market. The Labor Department's report, it came out this morning, by the way, and it also showed the 4-week moving average of weekly jobless claims, which kind of takes out the volatility of it from the weekly numbers. It actually fell by 4,500. It went to 198,750. So we're still in the jobless claims area and healthy unemployment rate here in the United States. Still that no hire, no fire type of environment that we're in, even though large companies are doing layoffs and lots of layoffs out there. It's not enough to kind of unbalance this jobless market as we are talking about it out there. Now, President Trump and the tariff side of it, we know he's being sued by, was it 20, 25 states or something like that for this new round of tariffs? Well, we now know due to a court filing, financial filing, that the President Trump's administration has officially refunded about $100 billion from tariffs that it collected, of course, before the U.S. Supreme Court struck down those duties. This is that emergency act that was struck down by the Supreme Court. The amount as of the end of July was noted in Tuesday's filing by U.S. Customs officials. Now, it represented more than half of the $166 billion collected in tariffs that were ultimately deemed illegal. So we're up to $100 billion of that $166 billion being sent back out to the companies as well. Now, let's go across the pond here. This is an interesting one. I think it was 15 states are suing the Trump administration for this new round of tariffs that are rolling out as well. I know Arizona is one of those. A lot of the left-wing states are the ones suing for those tariff side of it. And speaking of lawsuits, right, this is one that states are suing. I think this is the one where 25 states are, I think it's the 25 states here. We're talking, of course, the Paramount Warner Brothers Discovery merger out there. We know it's been put on hold until at least June of next year, 2027. But earlier today, Britain, they gave the green light to Paramount Skydance's acquisition, a takeover, the $110 billion worth one of Warner Brothers Discovery. Yeah, they're getting the government approvals, right? They got it in the United States. They've got it over there in the EU. They got it from Britain now as well. Only hold up here is states and the writers guilds and things here suing over this merger. The UK government and the antitrust watchdog over there both cleared the deal after initially raising concerns over media plurality and competition if this merger goes together. The Competition and Markets Authority, which is the CMA over there in the Britain area, They found that the takeover would not weaken competition in film distribution, children's TV, and streaming services. Now, Britain's culture minister. I don't know why that title was hard for me to say. She opted not to intervene in the merger. It went on to say that she had secured, quote, assurances for further legally binding commitments, unquote, to ensure a diverse range of broadcasting and on demand services within their country. They say the assurances included a range of commitments, things like future investment in the UK, and also maintaining the distinct editorial identities of key services and the editorial independence of news with the merger. Right, you know, a lot of big companies, and especially on the media side, journalistic side, merging together with this deal as well out there. So the UK officially on board and approving. So US has approved it. The EU now the Britain has approved it. We just got local United States entities kind of holding this up going forward there. So now the United States yesterday they made an announcement that it suspended all government operations in the Mexican state of I'm going to screw it up now. Now that I see it written again, Michoacan. I just screwed it up, folks. Basically, because our healthy foods are trying to kill us these days. Yes. The official word for the halting the operations is a threat to U.S. interests. But this includes a halt to the inspections of avocados required for their export here to the United States. So avocado fans, or even guacamole fans, you could have some price spiking here coming up. So this includes sushi. You sushi fans out there with avocado and that. Now, the U.S. Embassy did not specify the nature of the threat in its security alert, but the governor down there in Mexico, he said on social media that the temporarily halt to inspections was intended to safeguard workers, well, because of recent arrests linked to extortion. Apparently, the cartel down there does a lot of threats on these inspectors and things, and they arrested a bunch of the cartel, and so they're worried about repercussions on the avocado inspectors before they come up here. Now, why do they do these inspections? Well, they're necessary for avocados to be shipped to the United States. And the suspension of the services there, the inspections, well, obviously could disrupt the exports up here to the United States. Here's the problem with it, avocado fans. That western state of I just did it again. Michoacan, well, it's leading exporter of avocados into the U.S. Yeah, it's a high level of organized crime activity in that state, with at least 4 cartels operating. Yeah, yeah. So there you go, folks. We're having problems. And here's the interesting thing. Besides, trafficking drugs, cartels also make money through extortion, which includes the avocado industry down there as well. So they've arrested some of that cartel. They're worried about repercussions. The other side is, that one is the leading one in Mexico for avocados to the U.S., but Mexico supplies about 80% of U.S. avocado imports overall as well. So, yeah. So in that Mexican state, right, that's being halted right now, the avocado generates, and the cultivation of it generates about 200,000 jobs just in that Mexican state alone as well. Yeah. Last year, $3.65 billion worth of avocados were sold to the United States. First 4 months of this year, those exports rose by 35% compared to the same period last year in 2025 as well. So, yeah, there we go, folks. Yeah, they of course, the inspectors are looking for bugs and other things. Maybe they should do that with our lettuce as well, right? And other green leaf products out there. So avocados could either become more scarce or more expensive coming up here. Be aware of that out there. Now, Disney. There was a big conference call with investors yesterday. Of course, they did their announcing and their earnings here. And Disney said something interesting. They said that Disney, the CEO said this, the company is exploring a free, ad-supported streaming product for consumers. You may be able to get Disney Plus, but you'll have ads involved, but you get it for free. So now he said, unlike many of Disney's ad supported competitors, he said Disney has more ad inventory that would actually help us accelerate our ad revenue growth. He went on to say a free offering could help us drive top of funnel Disney Plus subscriber growth. So now they didn't no official announcement here. He said it's something that they're exploring out there. So what it means is what their theory is, you put Disney Plus, for instance, out there for free. Then you have ads running throughout it. So you're getting the ad revenue. People that want to, they get annoyed with the ads and then they upgrade to the pay services. And it just adds it up, adds the revenue on multiple levels here, moving up here for the streaming platforms. Now, free ad supported streaming services, things like Tubi, which is part of Fox Corporation, Pluto TV, which is Paramount Skydance here. That's a free over the air service there with ads going through it. Roku has one. The Roku one is called the Roku channel. Well, they've been garnering more viewers as the cost of streaming has risen across the various services. Yeah, so basically, you go to them, you can watch all the programming. Just got to deal with all the ads out there. Now, cheaper ad-supported plans for major streaming players. We're talking Netflix here, even Disney Plus. They have different levels. Well, they become increasingly important to attract more customers and boost profitability for these services. We all know advertising for live sports and streaming, it's remained very, very strong here in this evidence. That's why all the streaming services pay through the nose for their live sports. They get more revenue from those supporting as well. Disney, by the way, they also announced Wednesday it sold all of its spots for the upcoming Super Bowl this year, or 27 Super Bowl. It'll air on the ABC and ESPN networks in February. Now, they've always had the highest ad rates in the Super Bowl of any live TV programming, but this year, 30-second spots, $9 million is what some have been sold for there as well. Like the big companies like Coca-Cola, they get discounts off of that. But $9 million is what some of those ad numbers were being sold for. That is a lot of money, folks, there. But you could get a free option for Disney Plus coming up is the big part of that story. You'll just have to put up with a gosh darn ton of ads out there for that as well. And this is an interesting story because, I know a few of the younger generation that don't do social media, don't do any of that. Like you talk to them about, oh, did you see this on Twitter? No. Snapchat? No. And so I found this story and it's kind of interesting. The growing number of young people, Gen Z, for instance, who are actually ditching their smartphones in favor of those dumb phones. Well, it's all an effort to unplug from social media amid concerns about social media's impact on mental health. There's been lawsuits lately won by people suing these big companies about this as well and how they've kind of, you know, hurt their mental health and made them feel bad about themselves with the social media side. But also, some of these young people, they feel nostalgic of an era that they actually never knew, right? Before the advent of mobile devices. Those of us of certain ages, we don't need to go into those ages. We remember what it's like not having a phone, let alone everything we do nowadays on it. According to Pew Research, roughly half of the U.S. adults in 2025 visited social media platforms. That would be YouTube, Facebook, at least once a day. Research from the American Psychological Association, well, it showed even higher usage among young people. The average U.S. teen spends nearly 5 hours a day on social media. Well, that's how they communicate. Like, I text people or call them. Kids today, they use the apps to communicate with all of their friends out there. So these, dumb phones. What is class technically a dumb phone? Well, it's a very broad category out there, but basically it's one that it's stripped down from, what you can put on it. Yeah, at one end of the dumb phone categories, the old school flip phones, the late 90s, early 2000 era. They handle calls and texts, pretty much nothing else. That Snake game, remember that? Then there are devices that use flip phone hardware, but they integrate messaging, and other smaller apps out there for dumb phones. So there's a wide variety there in terms of the dumb phone category. But the other thing is that young kids are doing, they're getting the new iPhones, but they're using smartphone technology that blocks social media from their phones out there. There's a lot of companies that, put restrictions on what you can download and what apps you can access on your phones. People are moving to all of those. There's actually full companies. There's one called I think it's dumb.co, I think. It's a website that tells you how to get a dumb phone, how to dumb it down, and get away from stuff that's affecting your mental health. And look, social media, if you let it, can let you affect your social or your mental health out there. Just seeing nobody posts the bad stories. They only post the fun times that they're having out there, or at least perceived fun times out there as well. Folks, when we come back here, we get into some local stories that you need to know. Of course, here on this Thursday, it's busy. We're rocking and rolling. Come on back. McCollum on Business. And we're back here. McCollum on Business. Having some fun here on this Thursday. And folks, market's changing here as we're looking at it right now as well. We're going to look at some memory stocks coming up here in just a minute. But you just saw the ads there for our other shows here as well. We're live here 7 a.m. Monday through Friday. Here for McCollum on Business, live on YouTube, TME Media AZ. Of course, as soon as we're done here, well, we roll into the main event, which is also live on YouTube, TME Media AZ. Join us at 8 to 10 a.m. here. Me and 17-year NFL veteran Del Hellestrey. Uncle Lou joins us today to talk a little NFL talk, as well as UFC action from last week's actions to this week's UFC action. That's our Thursday schedule. Join us there live, 8 o'clock. And, of course, if you can't join us live, our programming is up on demand shortly after we are done with it live here as well. So catch it on demand on YouTube. The Pit Stop, this week's episode is up. You got Iowa Speedway for NASCAR, Portland for IndyCar. Lots of news. We start getting the schedule pilfered out here on the Pit Stop. So make sure you catch the Pit Stop on demand right now on YouTube and over on Rumble as well. Also on Rumble, we have all of our programming, including The Real Matrix. The Real Matrix is exclusive to Rumble as well. Now, The Real Matrix comes out on Fridays. The Angry Patriot is a great show. He loves for you to join him. He can't appreciate enough how many of you have joined him, either on demand on Rumble, or, of course, on your favorite podcast system. Apple, Google, Spotify, Podchaser, I'm forgetting a couple, Podbean. Wherever you listen to your podcast, you can catch the shows there as well. All the shows have free podcasts except for this one, McCollum on Business. The Real Matrix with Angry Patriot. Just search for that; it comes right up. The Pit Stop comes right up for you there. The main event comes up for you there as well. For those of you that prefer the audio version of the shows, and folks, don't forget also on demand YouTube, Rumble. Yeah. A lot of fun here. Come and join us. Share us with your friends. We greatly appreciate it. And with all that being said, let's get right into that Market Watch. And everything is just kind of there today, right? The Dow Jones is down, but it's down 170 points here today. It's gotten worse as the day's gone on. S&P 500 basically unchanged today, 2 points down for that. NASDAQ only 69 points up right now for the NASDAQ. Russell 2K 9 points up as of right now as well. Even Bitcoin, that 247 can be wiped out or gained pretty quickly here, but it's trading in that mid 64,000 range, 64,372 for Bitcoin here today. And a lot of it has to do with Iran situation. There's reportedly a deal between Iran and Oman to close, or it's close to a Strait of Hormuz deal out there. So people are waiting on that. Gold prices are the highest level since June, all on weak payroll data, and then waiting also for the Strait of Hormuz deal hopes. Of course, gold and uncertainty tends to leave gold up a lot here as well. The SpaceX stock is being watched closely these days with the insiders after that IPO or this week. It starts yesterday. Insiders can start unloading some of their stock to get some of that cash that they have on paper right now. So people are watching SpaceX very, very closely as well. And then folks, we got the stocks we're paying attention to. And the one that's being watched, we showed you Versant Media earlier, is one of the big ones. Today, the other one everybody's watching is SanDisk out there. Memory chip, huge company, down 4.24% right now. Revenue guidance appeared to disappoint traders, and yeah, they weren't happy with the revenue guidance. SanDisk said it sees first quarter revenue in a range of $10.3 to $10.8 billion. Well, the expectation, the consensus, well, it was $10.47 billion. Yeah, right there, kind of in the middle of it. But, they did go below that number on their low end of their guidance. Fourth quarter results did beat expectations on the top and bottom lines for SanDisk, but it's the guidance that is the very. Now, keep in mind, these are stocks that have been very volatile lately as well, but these are stocks that have shortages, right? They can't make enough demand because of the data centers out there. And a competitor of SanDisk, Western Digital, is going to be our next stock that we're looking at right now. Their problem is, oh, we got the wrong one up here. This is FanDuel from yesterday here, still up there as well. I'll just tell you, Western Digital's down about 15% here today as well. Current quarter projections underwhelmed traders. The Western Digital called for adjusted earnings of $4 per share. And they said plus or minus 15 cents roughly on that. And they said their revenue is going to be $4.1 billion is what they were expecting, plus or minus $100 million. Well, the consensus estimate forecast was $3.81 a share on $4.04 billion in revenue coming up here. But again, memory stocks, they've been up and down on this roller coaster. Sorry, we don't have the graph for you. But as of now, down about, actually, I'll give you the update, 12% down right now for Western Digital. And finally, we're going to look at Zillow here as well. The online real estate marketplace, well, they're down earlier today. I'll look it up while I'm talking here. They're down about 11% here earlier today. It expanded chief of financial officers. His name is Jeremy Hoffman. They expanded his role within the Zillow company, gave him the additional title of chief operating officer as well. They added a title to him out there. The company also reported a solid quarter. And they reported it after the bell yesterday. So we're seeing the results of the announcements this morning. And that's why they're down a little bit here. Adjusted earnings per share of 52 cents did top the estimate of 45 cents. And then they had $772 million in revenue. The estimated amount was $758 million in revenue. So they beat it on the top and bottom lines. Well, just the day before their announcement yesterday, they announced they're going to let go about 500 employees as well in a cost-saving manner here for Zillow. So Zillow down today. Sorry we don't have the graphs for you, but down about 8% here today as well. And so like I said, some stocks are even though they're beating their numbers, their future guidance is hurting them. Capital expenditures in the case of like SpaceX is hurting them or any of those AI stocks, Meta, Google, Alphabet, etc., are all being affected by the capital expenditures out there, even with good numbers. And it's amazing to watch this kind of happen right now as well. And in terms of local stories, I know it's they were based out of Texas now, but they started here in Gilbert back in 2013. And the big uproar was that yesterday was the last day that Salad and Go was operating here in all of their stores. They filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, etc. So what was going to happen to them? A lot of speculation that Angie's, which was the original owners of Salad and Go, they sold to this private equity firm. Left the company back in 2021 and started Angie's and have major growth from there. And Angie's, by the way, does do salads. Well, we now know that after Salad and Go announced it was filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and closing all of its stores, well, the new plans are in place. Maybe judge has to approve it here as well for these soon-to-be closed locations. So court documents are out there, and the company behind Dutch Bros, which is now it's from Oregon, but now has a corporate office here in Tempe. Dutch Bros has agreed to purchase Salad and Go's assets for $105 million. They did pay a $10 million deposit. The rest will be due at the closing of that deal as well. So now everybody was instantly freaking out because, like, out by my house, there's literally a Dutch Bro and a Salad and Go on corners. And people were losing their minds, folks. It was amazing. All over social medias for my neighborhoods and areas. We're going to have two Dutch Bros across the street from each other? Well, it's possibly you will. But and under this deal, Dutch Bros is actually only taking over 51 drive-through locations in Arizona and Nevada, which, of course, will turn them into Dutch Bros at that point. They literally can almost move right in to Salad and Go locations. The setup is very, very similar. Obviously the innards you have to redo, but the buildings themselves. So Dutch Bros will take over 14 Salad and Go locations in Oklahoma and Texas as well. So they're not buying all of them. So for everybody panicking, you'll have a Dutch Bro in every corner. I'm not saying you won't, but coffee shops, right? Starbucks showed that model. Right? You got to have one on the corner because people, believe it or not, won't cross the street. Like if you're going northbound on a road and the coffee shop, whatever it is, Starbucks, Dutch Bro, whatever, is on the east side of the road and you have to take a left into it, a lot of people won't take that left and go to that store. So you got to have one on the right also so they could turn into that one. That's a legitimate thing. That's why you get them on the corners and stuff like that. But only buying 51 Arizona and Nevada locations coming up here as well. And what happens to the other vacant ones is the bigger question. Like where I am, there's an Angie's in the same, literally 300 feet from a Salad and Go, competitors, of course. And then literally diagonal to that is a Dutch Bros there. So what happens to that Salad and Go building there on the corner of that lot is kind of the question. And this is a story I don't get, kind of, right? They Falcon Field put through landing fees. They got sued. They won the lawsuit. And now Mesa City Council has voted to delay the Falcon Field Airport's landing fee program. Yeah, because of another ongoing lawsuit and even an investigation by the FAA is why they're putting it on hold. Right? If you're wanting to do the fees, put them in effect. You fought for it. Now they're kind of stalling a little bit. Now this landing fee program, the council said is needed to fund that Falcon Field Airport. It's been a lot and under the microscope a lot since it was first approved back in March. Two flight schools, if you remember. I think one is CAE Aviation Academy. I know that. And I can't remember the other one off the top of my head here. But they have sued Mesa, alleging the fees are illegal. Oh, and it's Thrust Flight is the other one with that lawsuit. The FAA is investigating the program of landing fees. Every airport, by the way, has landing and takeoff fees, the big ones, like Sky Harbor does. Yeah. A federal judge denied a request to delay the fees. The city, though, still vote to delay the program at the request of the FAA. Quote, this delay in the implementation is to give an opportunity for our outside counsel, a national expert, to provide that independent review and to determine whether to provide confirmation on the fees or to propose and recommend new fees. That's from the city attorney put that statement out as well. Now, Anderson and Krieger LLP, well, they're a nationally recognized law firm, and they're from Boston, of all places. They have extensive experience with airport law, though. They're representing Mesa in looking into this and fighting these lawsuits. The firm requested additional time to complete its review and provide recommendations on these landing fees. The fees were scheduled to take effect on July 30th. They've been delayed 90 days now, starting July 27th, before they will be implemented. Like I said, the only confusion I have is you fought for them. You were so adamant about it. You fought these law schools for them. You won the lawsuit. And now you're like, yeah, we'll delay it anyway. It's just a little baffling. One city council person voted to not extend it. All the other ones that voted to do it out there as well. And then, right, I always joke around. Well, it's not a joke. Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays, she hasn't found a lawsuit that she does not like being involved in as well. But she used to be part of the Arizona Corporation Commission with fees for the agencies, the electric power grids and stuff. Well, she's challenging the Arizona Corporation Commission's repeal of energy efficiency standards. And she's saying she's doing it over an alleged legal error, is what she's fighting him about. Now, these are the EEES rules, the Electric Energy Efficiency Standards. They're required utilities like Arizona Public Service, Tucson Electric Power, right, to reduce the consumer's overall energy usage by 22% by 2020. They do that through cost and energy savings programs. So this is, you plant a tree, you get a discount. You get a rebate type of a situation. Commissioners voted to repeal those standards back in July, and they say they expired in 2020 and that utilities had actually exceeded their target, so they're no longer needed was the reason why they did it. Well, Mays is contending the interpretation is incorrect by the Corporation Commission and that the target savings target deadline was just that, a target, and no expiration order exists within those rules. Mays was, of course, chairman of the commission, as I was telling you, when it adopted the efficiency standards back in 2010. So now she's saying that to repeal that number, it's not just as easy as a vote like they did. She says the commission must complete a series of economic assessments, which, of course, will extend the life of those programs, right, while they go through the longer process out there as well. So Mays going after that as well. And just a quick side note, because I don't really have a food story for you if you're a Dr. Pepper fan. Portillo's, right? Several locations here, Chicago eatery that's out here in the valley. They have a Dr. Pepper shake that is all the rage on social media right now as well out there. So I just wanted to let you know as just kind of a food story here to wrap up this show here, as I didn't have an actual one out there. And chimes in, don't forget, join us on the YouTube chats as well for our live programming. Or, of course, if you're watching us on demand, you can do chats there. We see them. Or, of course, text us, 623-252-6670 to our TME Media text line out there. And Ann says, I am one of those people who don't like to make left-hand turns in Arizona. People don't drive well here. There are 2 Dutch Bros on Val Vista, south of the 202, one on each side and one on the west side. Yeah. I'm telling you, that's the philosophy. Is in a populated area, people will not go to your facility if they're not on that side of the road. And Starbucks figured this out. Starbucks is the one that kind of started it and popularized, a Starbucks on every corner. It's because it's what we do as humans, folks. You will, for instance, up at my place, there's a swig that I like going to. I only go to that swig when I'm headed northbound on the road. I will not stop there going southbound because it's hard to get into, taking the left. It's hard to get out of if you want to go southbound on that road. So I only hit it when I'm going one direction. And it's just nature, right? And I didn't consciously do it. I realized it a few weeks ago that that's the only time I do it. But that's why you see these coffee shops. So it'll be interesting to see if we start seeing more pop up. But I know there is areas of town, like she said here, Val Vista south of the 202, one on the east side and one on the west side. That's why, folks. But we'll see. With Salad and Go going, 51 stores in Arizona and Nevada being bought. We'll see how close they are out there as well. And, folks, appreciate you joining us here for this McCollum on Business Thursday edition. We got main event coming up next, live here on YouTube. Of course, join us live if you can. Catch us on demand later on the day when you're available to do so. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Don't forget, we're back to Fridays here. The summer schedule is over. We're back. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. McCollum on Business.